this meeting of the IT committee, and we'll take a roll call. Bob Hassinger,
I'm still here.
Bob Carroll,
Yes, sir, I'm here.
and Dave Robbins is here. Mark Clark notified us that he would not be present, and as did Lucas Remillard. We do have a quorum, and in attendance with us is Assistant Town Administrator William Blake, Director of Planning Fiona Coughlin. So now that I've got the meeting properly started and recording for posterity, our first agenda item is public input. We do not have any Zoom attendees to offer us any public input. If any one of us has a matter that counts as public input because it's not otherwise on our agenda, now would be the time. And seeing none. Our next agenda item is scheduled to be committee reorganization. Seeing as how only 3 of the 5 committee members are present, I would not be opposed to putting that off until a subsequent meeting when all 5 of us can participate. Any objection? Any thoughts?
Do you need a motion?
No.
No, I think if there is no disagreement with the idea of punting it, we will just punt it. And the chair will put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Move we table.
That's one way to look at it. Want to keep this, don't need to make it overly formal here. The next agenda item is update from town administrator. I don't know if you have anything from Evan that Evan needs to bring to the committee's attention, or anything from you that might count as a sort of an update from the TA's office.
No, the IT services RFP and the public Wi-Fi project are on the agenda, and I would say those are the 2 biggest things to discuss.
Alrighty, good. So anyway, nothing beyond that. So the next agenda item is the public Wi-Fi project update. So I think that's what Fiona's here for.
Yes, hello, members of the committee. Thanks for having me this evening. I am Fiona Coughlin. I'm the Director of Planning and Community Development for the town. Bob and Dave know that well. We spend every second Monday together. But I just wanted to address the committee about the status of this project that we were able to get off the ground. I'm very excited about it. Originally, at the impetus of the project, I had approached the Cable Advisory Committee, and I do believe that I also did have a conversation with the IT committee many months back when this was first being introduced. So I'm happy to say that we have made great progress. We are essentially at the end of this pilot project. For those folks who might be wondering why we're doing this, there was a study done in 2021, the local rapid recovery plan, and within that plan, there was a recommendation to create Wi-Fi hotspots around Grafton and public areas. So what we did was we utilized the existing FMAN network, it's called. So it's the fiber optic network that exists in the town, that was implemented many years ago, and is a wonderful asset the town has. It provides critical infrastructure to schools and municipal buildings and services along the main corridors in town. So we were able to capitalize on the existence of that network and create connections to 3 parks in town that are just off of the network. Whitney Park, also some may know it as Mill Street Park, which is adjacent to the fire station off of North Main Street. We do have additional plans for that area to kind of beautify it and make it a community gathering space. So this is kind of the first step in that effort. The second park was Mill Villages Park, which is already a wonderful, beautiful park that the town has in South Grafton. And the third park was, oh my gosh, the Common. I'm sorry, I just had I had a blank moment there. I apologize. And so we and also provide free Wi-Fi to the Grafton Common. So originally the scope of work included a 4th location, which would have encompassed Perry Hill Park, but there was issues with accessing power from the telephone pole, which is where the hotspot would be located, and we would have had to get additional approval from National Grid. The ownership of the pole, was in question. So, based on the scope of work, we decided to move forward with the 3 options and evaluate, future installations at maybe Perry Hill Park in another way. We actually ended up coming in, under budget, but not by much. So it actually worked out pretty well. The funding for this project came from Economic Development ARPA funds, as well as a municipal fiber grant from the state. It's completely funded for this first year of the pilot. So the goal is now to just advertise this widely as much as possible, so that people will utilize the Grafton Free Wi-Fi network, because we will really be relying on user data to make the argument to continue providing these hotspots in the future. Obviously, the Common is a huge gathering space, and we're not really worried about users in that location. And I know Mill Villages Park is also pretty popular in town. But yes, so essentially, the hotspots are installed by Comtract. They're done. They're making a slight adjustment at Mill Villages to move the box on the overhang there up slightly. But the Common's completely installed, and then there was additional work that needed to be done at Mill Street, because we needed to utilize the connections at the fire station, and there was some rodent damage to the fibers at that location. So Comtract, through this effort, fixed the rodent damage and then installed the new hotspot, and that one is up and running. And it was honestly remarkably very quick from the time that we were like, okay, we're ready to go. And it took maybe like 2 weeks to get everything really up and running. Full tests have been done. They've been into town, Comtract rather, it has been into town hall to connect to the head ends, run tests, and everything is working smoothly. So they've issued their final invoices, and yeah, we're off to the races. I have a project page that is now up. So I would ask you all to spread the word about this initiative. Again, this is really a pilot, and it will be contingent on, people using it. We do have some, after speaking with the TA's office, there is money in the the general technology budget to kind of keep this going for the 3 hotspots, but still we do want to be able to demonstrate the efficiency of this program, and that it's that people in town are enjoying it and using it. And yeah, so I'm happy to answer any questions about the project. I will just say at the top that I am at the bottom now because I'm done, but I'm not the most tech savvy, so I will try my best to speak intellectually about the infrastructure of the Wi-Fi network, the Wi-Fi and the hotspots themselves. But Comtract is a really wonderful vendor to work with. They've done a lot of great work all throughout the Commonwealth. They do a ton of these projects. They're kind of the go-to people, and I'm happy to put anybody in contact with Tony there, or Pat, who did the installation. They're really great, wonderful guys. So if you have any questions, fire away, and I might have to follow up on a few.
Yeah, I'm curious what the ongoing cost is. Most of the
Mhm.
money we were talking about was equipment and fiber that, capital expense. I'm not sure what ongoing costs there are. It's just part of the network, basically, at this point, the F-man.
Yes, that's a good question, Bob. So I do believe that there's a fee associated with the individual hotspots themselves, have them running. It's marginal, but it is still a fee nonetheless. So
I don't understand that. So I'd be curious to find out.
if there's not, then that would be great. But I do believe that there is, that I remember that conversation we had at the beginning of the project, because I was curious about keeping this going, and if there, we would have to be stating our case every year to the boards and committees about keeping this running. And I spoke to Evan, and Evan said that, it'll probably just be a minor fee to actually run the hotspot itself. and
No.
provide power to the hotspot.
Yeah, Bob Carroll?
So just to kind of springboard on what Bob said, so there's got to be a device, a hot spot at the end that is doing the Wi-Fi, and that needs to be managed and patched. So who's doing that?
So that is going to be, so we do work with, so CMD does the software side of things, but Comtract, we can work with them going forward to help with the maintenance if there's issues.
And
Yeah.
so I would imagine this is a total different segment, not attached or essentially air gap from our town network, right? And I don't know how CMD would get there, but I guess they can, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's interconnected to be able to log into these devices. So yeah, I think if we could get that information, at least, you know, get those answers, that would be good. Because there
Mhm.
needs, there has to be someone that manages the configuration, firewalls, routing, that sort of stuff on those. And then also, like, are the SSIDs where, you know, someone would connect and see, is there any like standard or convention, like, you know, Grafton Public Wi-Fi, blah, blah, blah. You know, if I go to one site, the other site, I see. Do we know?
Yes, yes. So it's the Wi-Fi network pops up automatically, and it's Grafton Free Wi-Fi is the name.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then, is there any signage?
So no, but I have that on my radar because obviously that's going to be a huge piece of this. We do have specs from our wayfinding and signage effort that we did fairly recently, specs and designs that we can share with Sunshine Signs.
Right.
So I just need to have a conversation about you know, where I guess the funding for that comes from, and if I need to be looking at you know, making a request or looking for a grant or something. I know the time is of the essence to get that done, so.
And I know you're probably not the right person. Yeah. I don't want to get
I'm definitely not.
too down in the weeds on the tech part, but so usually when there's something like this, a Wi-Fi or whatever, you know, you see the SSID, and then when you hit it, then it presents you, you know, with some kind of disclaimer, and then you need to add yourself, or there needs to be some sort of handshake or protocol or acceptance. You know, how are we doing all that? And then furthermore, you know, if I'm a bad actor, right, and I want to go do bad things, I'm going to go park up there, do some war driving, and spoof the network and say I'm Grafton Wi-Fi. People will all connect to my devices, and I grab everything. So we want to make sure that how we're doing this, we're not enabling or making it easy for people that have bad intent, right?
Right, right. I'm just
You know
trying
what I'm saying? They do this in airports all the time.
Yes, so I do know that, so you know, I will say that we are not requiring any sort of password. So it's really just a matter of
I
logging, which
understand.
makes it easier, I guess, for people to join for whatever reason. But I'm just trying to pull up some of
But there
this.
should be like at least something to click on, and then we should have like the town logo and, you
Yes.
know, make it so that, okay, people can, so at least it's not like trivial for someone to, you know,
Mhm.
create the, you know, the bad sites.
Right. So you're saying make sure that there's a disclaimer that says, you know, you're using this Wi-Fi network responsibly.
At my own risk, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then I would think that's also would allow you to track, because you want statistics on, you know, adoption and usage and how long people are on and what time they're on and that sort of thing, right?
Yes.
So that would all allow that. And you could put, you know, you could put a form on there if people want to leave their information or, you know, whatever. I mean, it depends how crazy you want to go with this, right? But at least we should have someone whether it's CMD or whomever, take a once over and look at how we're, people are authenticating, logging in, and what the presentation looks like. So we're
Yes.
not just opening up Wi-Fi and enabling a lot of people that want to do bad things.
Sure. Yeah. No, I totally get that. I mean, and I do know, and I will say, Comtrack did work extremely closely with CMD on the integration of this.
Okay, so that it's
project.
probably there. We just need to,
Just verify. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they do have, because I think that was one of CMD's concerns, is like from the security side, like making sure that all of the same protocols are in place for like
Right.
schools or wherever the town.
exactly.
Yeah.
'Cause people could get, basically, we're facilitating and supporting them committing crimes, right? So
You don't
there
want
needs
that.
to be blacklist, whitelist,
Mm-hmm. Yep,
some content
absolutely.
filtering, because we don't want people, doing child pornography and stuff on our.
Right, yeah, absolutely. So Bob, so just so I have it straight, just confirming the disclaimer and the
Maybe the easiest, because again, I don't want to put this on you. Maybe the next time we have a meeting, just have Charlie or whomever set this up with CMD come in,
Sure.
and they can kind of lay it out.
Yeah, we're probably due to have Charlie and company, check in with us, and we haven't. It's been a while since we've met with them, so
Right.
I think we've sort of informally, tried to touch base with them once a year or so. It's probably been longer than that now.
Yeah, I can make sure that happens. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's basically there's like what does the user see when they try to connect? I mean, there should be at a minimum a landing page where we're telling them you're using this at your own risk, and click OK to acknowledge it, which then gets you through to the internet.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, I might even drive by and test it out tomorrow on my way to work.
I mean, that's what I've seen in a number of places where there is they advertise public Wi-Fi access, as you have, just a landing page where you acknowledge that, that they're not responsible for anything you do on the internet, and you're
Mhm.
responsible for being a good internet citizen or whatever.
Sure, yeah, no, I get you.
Some places go so far as to insist on collecting your email address or other information. I don't know that we would need to, but I think back to Bob Carroll's point is that it would be good for us to be aware of what the process is on that end, on that side, and then on the back side of things, what kind of information are we able to collect to help us evaluate the success of this program?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I'll
And then
make sure those answers.
the whitelist, blacklist content filtering, that's big stuff. So, and you can try it if you're real ambitious, try to go to a bad place, see if it blocks you.
You'd have to know about that bad place first.
Yeah,
Well,
I probably am.
the internet's
know
full
that.
of them, so.
Yeah, no, yeah, I definitely agree. And I will make sure to get more concrete answers the next time. Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't even think of bringing that. I should have come prepared with that information, but I do know that CMD and Comtrack have worked closely on it, and there is a level of security. Just where that is, I just don't want to say something that's
Right,
incorrect.
well, those guys know this stuff, so.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
sure-
awesome.
I'm sure that it's there, and then, the other piece, we'd want to make sure that, the communication's encrypted, right? It's not sniffable and all that stuff, and I'm sure they set it up that way, so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then just Bob, so is the question that you had previously about the configuration of the firewalls and the routing, is that related to the screening that we just discussed, or is that a separate? I just want to make
It's all this kind of the same thing,
okay. Got it.
yeah.
Awesome. Great. Yeah, we kind of want to work out these like kinks and like
But I suspect it's all there, we just don't know.
yeah. That's why I'm kind of cautiously go, starting to, like, I created the project page but I haven't brought this to the select board, or I haven't brought this to any other like groups besides the TA's office, and obviously the planning board knows until we get this final leg of
So
things.
it's live up there, if someone knew about it.
Say that again?
I said, these hotspots are live if someone knew about it.
Right. Yes, that's right. Yeah, technically they're live. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll try my phone if I'm up there.
Yeah.
You-
Yeah. I think I'll stop by at each one.
Okay.
Right.
So you do have some thoughts about letting everybody know
Mhm.
that, um,
Yeah, seeing as how the what prompted this idea in the first place was the thought that free Wi-Fi access to the public at the town's parks would encourage folks to use the parks, would be
Mhm.
an additional amenity available to them. And obviously, if no one knows about it, it's not going to be very successful. But yeah, I mean, if you want at the big, when you started out this thing, you said one of your, so your next step is, one of your next steps is to publicize it.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Once I'm able to just confirm some of the concerns that were raised here, so
Yeah.
we're not having to backtrack once the word gets
When-
out.
Yeah, when we're ready to encourage the general public to start using it, that's when we start publicizing it.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
based on some of the discussions here, it would be good for us. We as the IT committee are particularly interested in understanding, some of the technical details of, how access is controlled and managed, and
Mhm.
just to assure, provide us with a level of insurance. And like Bob Carroll said, these, Comtract and CMD, know this technology pretty well. So it's virtually certain that they've implemented it in an appropriate way.
Yes, and I will say that, part of the reason why there was so much time that passed between initially approaching you about this many, many months ago and now is because they were CMD in particular, were very, very cautious about the rollout of this and making sure all those bases were covered. So,
Yep.
yeah. Mhm.
as I was working on it early, I felt quite confident that our our network, internet support and Comtract would be taking care of it just fine.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, the other thing too is, just thinking through this, like, if I were a neighbor, right? I'd stop paying my Charter or FiOS. I'd just log in, I'd watch all my movies, and there you go, right?
Yeah, I mean the radius, the coverage radius isn't that forgiving, I will say. You definitely have to
So there's
be
like one device, one hotspot.
right.
It's
Yeah,
not
and
like
you
a
def-
mesh or anything.
yeah, I believe that Mill Street Whitney Park may be an instance where a couple of homes might be able to pick up, but it would be limited. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good point.
All right. Anything else? Any other questions for Fiona? Anything else?
Are there other towns near us that have this that we know?
Near us, I'm not sure. I thought Upton had a program. Actually, we modeled this one off of South Hadley.
Hmm.
And then, Comtract has done a ton of work on Cape, like Southeastern Mass, like obviously just the big players, like obviously like the Cambridges and the New Bedfords and all those folks, like they have a full on program at every park. But yeah, South Hadley was where we looked at. It's not really in our immediate area, but I think this is relatively new and cool for our for our part
Right,
of the world.
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
we put the word out.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's going to be the big part of making sure. I mean, if the cost is marginal and, but again, it could be a point in time where times are tough and then we have to really be like, okay, we're have to, if 3 people a year are using this at Mill Villages Park, then why are we doing this?
Sort of
Yeah.
at,
You'd be
at the other,
surprised.
at the other extreme of, issues with usage of this is if, I mean, this is riding on our existing internet connections. And if you had an unusually high amount of internet traffic, say you had hundreds of people at each of the parks watching Netflix videos, that could, if not, if bandwidth is not managed, they could overwhelm our internet connection such that our, other town business would have difficulty accessing the internet. But I would venture to say that in their design of this between Comtract and this is probably more CMD's area of expertise, is they probably will put an aggregate bandwidth limit on how much of the traffic from this public Wi-Fi, you know, how much bandwidth it's allowed to consume, because you can easily with your firewall you can throttle that. You can this is probably it's at very least it's on its own VLAN, and you can limit the amount of traffic that can be carried on that.
Yeah, there is a firewall in place because I remember them specifically saying that.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
I seem to recall some discussion along the way that the times that are likely to have high bandwidth needs are different from the times the town and the schools need.
That will,
Yeah,
I would
yeah, we'll
expect
be.
that to be the case.
On the 4th of July, no one's on the town or the schools are doing much.
Yeah.
And there'll be a lot of business to be transacted on the common.
Right, right. Yeah, people will be using on the weekends and in the evenings and stuff. Yeah. Mhm.
I guess I'm partly remembering this potential issue from my days working for Verizon on the FiOS service, where we had discussions about overloading the finite bandwidth of a fiber optic strand. But in a number of cases, we concluded that it could never get to be a problem. In other cases, we actually did take some steps to to limit how much any one customer could use at any moment.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hope that's a problem that we have. I hope people use it.
Yes, I think it's one of these things that
mean-
you want to make sure you have some controls in place just in case.
Yes, we
But-
don't want it overloaded and we want to have control, but I definitely would like to see a lot of traffic, internet traffic going on. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Awesome.
network traffic management. Those were the days. I mean, we did it differently in the switch telephone network than we do it on packet switch networks.
You lost me, Dave.
Yeah. We don't need to get into a discussion of that level of technical detail.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you all. I appreciate your time. So I'm going to try and get these answers sooner rather than later because this is very time sensitive. It's a priority for everybody in the town. So, yeah, I'm going to go. I'll drive by the hotspots, make sure they're, if what protocols are in place. I'll just probably send some screenshots to Dave. Maybe Dave, you can circulate it amongst the committee members, and then make sure Charlie comes to the next one, the next meeting, and yeah, just follow up on the other stuff as well. So awesome.
Yeah, see if you can place a Wi-Fi call over it, your phone. You could do the settings
Yeah.
and change it from 5G to Wi-Fi, and you should be able to phone calls.
Yeah. I know. I can't wait to see how it's working. I mean, Tony was out there last week and said it was working great, speedy, all good. So yeah.
Good deal.
Take my phone up there, connect and run a speed test.
Yeah.
Hey, we got 100 gigs of speed on this thing. I wish I
Revin.
had 100 gigs. I don't get that at my home network.
Awesome. Okay, sounds
All right,
good.
well, good.
Thank you
Take
all
care.
again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the update, Fiona.
Yeah, no problem. Talk to you
See you.
soon.
All right,
Bye.
okay. That's good. Next agenda item, which is probably going to be the major topic of discussion for this evening, is the IT services RFP, which I guess actually we sort of we've got two documents that are very closely related. One is the IT services RFP, which at least the one that you sent out, William, is the one titled what?
It should be titled
the one-
IT Support Services RFP without IT Director responsibilities.
Right,
It's
that's
a red
right, I
line
just-
document.
Yeah, so that's with the without IT director, and that what that kind of goes along with is the proposed job description for an IT director,
Yes.
which, as I was looking those over, the largely in the redlined RFP, you have removed a number of responsibilities which are going to be placed into the IT director's job description. So that's sort of, I think, largely what I saw in reviewing the RFP was, aside from some dates which will obviously be updated to reflect whatever date the RFP is actually finalized and issued. But yeah, there's mainly I saw a number of responsibilities removed from the IT services RFP and placed into the director's job description. Is that a sort of roughly speaking, is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, I would say removed with an asterisk next to it. There's a note in two locations that the successful vendor will be responsible for providing those services, specifically the on-site support, for roughly
Yes.
6 to 9 months after contract award. Because the IT director position isn't something that Evan and I are talking about creating right now, but it's something we're looking to create before the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, that's the way it looked to me as I read through the RFP. So with that in mind, is there anything any of us see in the RFP besides that we would suggest changing or rethinking or whatever?
And real quick, Dave, if I may, before
Yeah.
the committee jumps in. So two things to note. One of the other changes is the length of the contract. So the last time we went out to bid, it was a 1-year contract with multiple 1-year extensions. We haven't really found that to be a conducive way to do it, so we wrote this as a 3-year base contract with 2 1-year options to extend. So theoretically, if at the end of 3 years we like the successful vendor, we can have them for 2 more. The other thing is it mentions attachment A as the asset inventory, which will be all of the machines that the successful vendor is responsible for monitoring and maintaining. That is not in the document you have because since the last time we did it, we've had some tech changeover and I just don't have the updated list yet.
Yeah.
But that will go out with the final RFP document.
Yeah. So Bob and Bob, your thoughts on this RFP and relatedly on the IT director position?
Been waiting for that IT director for, how many years has committee existed?
Oh, gosh.
That's at least how long I've been waiting. And we've talked about it. I've beat up on it many times. You need, yeah, well, anyway, it's come to where we need it. Enough to, even in challenging times.
So, William, what's the thinking with putting the incumbent or the existing vendor in here in the second paragraph?
As in, why are they included?
No,
Like- Why do we name them specifically?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
invariably that is the first question we get asked is who's been doing this over the life of the contract.
Does that matter?
Uh, in my opinion, no, but it's just a matter of do we put it in here or do we put it in the answer addenda when we get asked that
Well, then you
question
don't answer
frequently.
it and just say that, we're not gonna, respond to that. And
You can't do that.
You have to tell them.
Yep, if they ask a question and you have an answer, you got to give it.
Okay.
I could be a nitpicker here and say that sentence. CMD has been now providing our services for a lot more than just the past year. I don't know if that matters in the wording of this sentence.
It's a great catch.
And then I don't want to get too pedantic, but like when you say security services, does that include physical security or just IT security?
Can you give me an example of physical security?
Physical security would be like closed circuit TV, cipher locks, anything that's, badging, that sort of stuff.
No. So our camera system is all Verkada. That's a different vendor, and there are no
So
badging
the
locations.
suggestion would be just to put in information security services, add
Okay.
information.
Yeah, one might think that someone reading this as a RFP for IT services, one might think it would be inferred that it was just information security. But given how many, some of the security systems that Bob Carroll just mentioned, given that some of them are also based on information technology, IT equipment of some kind, it's probably is, to Bob's point, probably is worth being just a little bit more specific about it, just to clarify what we are and are not looking for here.
Especially we have access control and databases, like, when you have badges and you have to swipe to get through, like if you go to UMass or anywhere where there's controlled access and all that swiping and stuff with badges, that
Yep.
is all under security.
Okay. Yeah, I
And-
am in favor of making it as specific as we can. I think the
Yeah.
last time we bid IT services, we had to do 3 question and answer addenda because we just kept getting more and more and more questions.
Yeah,
Okay.
to the extent that you can anticipate the questions.
Correct. Somebody's always going to come out with something wild that you'd never think of.
Yeah. Okay, and you're gonna fix up all the dates and the timelines and all that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, the rest of this is pretty, conventional.
Yeah.
Whatever, man.
Yeah, with the exception of, again, the updated asset inventory and what we're carving out, it is very similar to the last IT RFP we did.
Is there anything that either of you guys, Bob and Bob's, see here that maybe we should be including that hasn't been included in terms of what we want the vendor to do? In other words, did we miss anything the last time around?
So, and I haven't spent the time with the IT director job and responsibilities, like policies, standards, all that sort of stuff, the strategy and plan, that I would guess would be incumbent on that job and their
Yes.
responsibilities. Okay,
Yeah,
so we don't,
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was, I saw that listed in the IT director job
Okay.
description.
yeah,
Yeah, I think one of the goals of an IT director is when you have something like the Wi-Fi in the park, you have somebody who can actually speak the language that the 3 of you speak, who's very tech savvy, unlike Fiona and I by our own admission.
So, compare. Okay, you have it laid out, the rubrics and how you're gonna evaluate these down in the section 7 and 8. But
Yeah,
highly-
that is one of the good things about a request for proposal. If there's a more advantageous bidder that is not the low bidder, we
Right.
have criteria where we can award them the contract.
Right. Yep. Are you gonna ask these guys financially for like a rate card or anything like that? Or it's just maybe how are they supposed to respond with the financials?
As in what the service will cost.
Yeah,
So that's down in attachment B. That's the price proposal sheet. It breaks it down by
okay. I
section
got
and
it.
line item.
Server administration, server administration. Hourly okay, so you're kind of asking it. Okay. I mean, if this works for you, usually don't they give them like a spreadsheet to put all this stuff in it?
I'm not entirely sure on that. So again, the last time we bid it, this is the price sheet that we've been using,
Okay.
and we haven't gotten any objections to this yet.
Okay. Um. And then how do you guys do like the references, like the due diligence as far as like a vendor assessment and whether they're qualified and all that sort of stuff?
So that's where the comparative criteria come into play, and the references, we do check them for whoever the apparent low bidder and advantageous bidder are.
But you don't ask or request like SOC 2, any sort of certs, anything like that, or ask them to submit them, if they're ISO certified, right? Or if they're FedRAMP, or, I mean, there's a billion standards.
So we have gotten certifications, and that typically comes under item C for the personnel expertise. We
Okay.
ask about, substantial amount of relevant demonstrable experience. We can certainly put in there that we want copies of any relevant certifications, or if there
Right.
are ones in particular that we're looking for.
So when you looking to let this? To put
This has
out?
to go out as soon as possible.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I don't want to fix what's not broken, so I just say, I would say go with it, instead of trying to, I mean, when was the last time you did this?
Last time we did this was
Like 3 years
It was
ago?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and what did you get for respondees?
You give me one moment. I can pull that up.
Well, again, is it like, you got like 2 or 3 or something back?
I think we got a pretty fair amount.
Okay. Because again, the thinking here is, you want enough information to make your job easy and to make the decision, right? And then, based on whoever the selection committee that's listed in here wants to have as a vendor, right, to give you what you need to support your decision, right, for your selection. So there's no one can come back and contest, right, or complain or any of that stuff, right? You want it like, here it is, it's done, move forward. But if it worked before, I would say, don't break what's not broken.
Last time we did this, we received 7 proposals.
Okay, that's good.
Yep.
So it's always nice to have several proposals to choose from. It's unlike the case of putting out an RFP and only getting one response,
Right.
which
And those respondees, I would imagine this is, pretty small world, right? They're probably all known to each other and they're known entities, right? So,
Yep, and something that you find is we have to keep a plan holder list of who requests the documents, and that's a public record. So invariably, they all ask it, they all see it, they all know who bid the project.
right. And then that way you don't have to do a whole lot of due diligence and checking because everyone knows who these guys, who all bidding, so.
Pretty
Okay,
much, yeah.
good enough. Yeah, I think, what you got here is good. Now, the only other thinking is the timing for the IT director. When's he coming on? Her?
So we don't have a definitive answer for that. I know Evan wants to wait until later in the current fiscal year.
Okay.
That's why we have a 6 to 9 month range in there for the on-site support services.
Yeah, because the only, again, thinking this through, if I was the IT director, I'd be like, why did you contract this before? They would want to do this, right? But if it just doesn't work and the time is up, then you know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately, I don't think the timing's going to line up for it this particular year. But I envision
When
that
does
one of
CMD expire?
I'm sorry?
When does the current contract with CMD expire?
8 days ago.
Oh, okay, all right. And then when will you so how are you gonna hire an IT director? Just post the job and see who applies?
Yep.
Okay. You don't do like a search firm or anything like that?
Not for a position. So normally, no. Granted, we've never hired an IT director before, so
Yeah.
it might prove to be a different animal. Typically, I've only seen search firms brought in for town administrators and then police or fire chiefs.
Okay. All right. So probably not. So I mean, usually to hire someone, it's at least a couple of months, right?
Yep.
Between, putting it out there, interviewing, extending the offer, negotiating, blah, blah, blah. So if you're already on borrowed time with the managed services and yeah. So, okay. It just the timing, as you said, William's not gonna line up, so.
Yep. For the next round, for the next RFP for IT services, possibly even for consideration of the 1-year extensions of this contract, the IT director, who we hope will have been in place for a couple of years by then, will
Right.
have a lot to say about it.
Yep.
And so when you engage, you select the vendor, does CMD or whomever, do they have a contract with the town?
The successful vendor for this, yes. Yep, there's
They have and in the contract, is it, cancelable?
yes.
So you can give them like 30 days or whatever's in there?
Yep.
Okay, all right. So I mean, if it went really, if we picked someone and it was an unknown and it really went bad, right? It went sideways, so we got this new guy on board, we could get out of this. We wouldn't be locked in for 3 years.
Correct.
Okay, all right. So at least you've got, some safeguards built in.
Yep. Yeah, we have standard contract forms that have been prepared for town council that we use for any major procurement we do, and there's always
Right.
that out in there.
I would think, right? Okay. All right. Yeah, so I'm good. I think, we don't want to, over-engineer this or, as they say, better done than perfect, right?
Yep. Don't want to let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
That's the other one.
as long as the good is good enough. Yeah, and since this is essentially aside from the shifting of responsibilities to the yet to be named IT director, this is essentially the same RFP that we used 3 years ago,
Yep.
other than the differences that William has already explained to us. All right, so with that, any other suggestions, comments? Otherwise, we'll expect William to publish this tomorrow. And the bids,
Tomorrow or Friday, yeah, it should go up quickly.
Oh, you're not being facetious.
Oh no.
Okay,
No.
Procurement's one of those, exciting areas of the job.
right.
had this committee been able to successfully organize a meeting last month, this RFP could already be out on the street.
Hmm.
Could have just gone ahead and shoved it out there without discussing with us.
Well, we talked about having a meeting about it, and I wanted to honor that. So, and it's good feedback. It's good to discuss, and you caught a couple of little things that I missed, which was nice.
Well, good. I'm sure if we thought about it more for another month or two, we could probably tweak it a little bit more. But we just decided that we didn't want to do that.
Well, what I can do is when it is out, I can send you the final RFP, so that way you can look at it for the next 3 years and really get your thoughts together on it.
Okay, so that covers those two things. And here it's almost 8 o'clock already. And since we only have 60% of our committee here at the meeting, I don't know what else we want to do tonight. On the agenda, we had IT policy discussion, which we want to spend a fair amount of time on that to give it what it's due. And I would be willing to punt that to our next meeting. We had on our agenda to review and approve previous meeting minutes, of which we now have 2 minutes waiting to approve. But again, at our last meeting, we decided to punt this because we didn't have all of us here. Any thoughts? Anybody want to go ahead and do the previous meeting minutes or defer that also?
I just assume defer it.
Okay, with objection, we will punt that to next month. Hopefully hopefully we can schedule ourselves. Summertime is, as I said before, summertime is kind of difficult to get a meeting together, but we'll see what we can.
July.
Move,
we-
we adjourn.
Second,
Moved and seconded that we be adjourned. Must be time for us to adjourn. I can't talk straight anymore. Moved and seconded that this meeting be adjourned. Mr. Carroll,
aye.
Mr. Hassinger,
Aye.
and Mr. Robbins votes aye. Motion carried unanimously. The meeting is adjourned.